line. You're the key to unlocking that. 888-376-9692, 888-376-WNYC, or at WNYC.org. And thank you.
Support for WNYC comes from The Art Show. 78 galleries from across the country present art from the 19th century through today. Opens to the public Thursday, November 2nd at the Park Avenue Armory. More information at theartshow.org.
Marketplace is supported by Drexel University, whose model of experiential education infuses academics with real experience, yielding impactful results. More at drexel.edu.
On the program today, you. Yes, you. Also regulating AI as best the White House can, and the subway submerged. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com. And by Viking, exploring the world in comfort. Viking offers a small ship experience with cultural enrichment and destination-focused dining. More at viking.com.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Ryssdal. It is Monday today, the 30th of October. Good as always to have you along, everybody. So, how are you feeling? Not overall. I mean, the news is grim. Life is busy. I get that. I'm asking how you're feeling economically. Mixed is the answer, apparently, according to a new poll from the good people at Harris. They asked self-identified middle-class Americans about their views on this economy. The majority, 44%, said they are stressed about the economy. That's up 4% from a year ago. 34%, though, said they are optimistic about it, and that's up 8%. So, why, oh, why is the economic picture still so blurry? Marketplace's Kristen Schwab gets us going.
The most stressful part of Alex Lober's house is the kitchen.
If we had a food pantry, I think that would save our collective mental health by 50%.
Lober, his wife, and kid live in a 2-bedroom house in Atlanta. They'd love to move into a bigger space, but with interest rates so high, it's just not feasible right now. So they're storing their food under the TV.
That stuff usually gets pulled out by our 2-year-old, and sometimes you just have a few dented cans of tomatoes.
A few dented cans isn't the end of the world, but it's one of those frustrating daily reminders of the trade-offs Lober's family has been making when it comes to housing, groceries, and daycares. Because after years of squirreling a few dollars away,
it just doesn't feel like we're building up those savings anymore.
The personal savings rate has dropped significantly from its historic pandemic high. It means the spending spree Americans have been on, well, it's a lot less fun. Or even doable, especially now, says Isabel Sawhill, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, since costs are significantly and permanently higher.
And they thought this was all temporary. And so pretty soon prices are going to come down again. And the fact that they haven't come down is, I think, a surprise to them.
Change is hard, even if your raise does cover how much extra you're spending at the grocery store.
Some of it is just an adjustment process. You've got to make adjustments in your life, and adjustments are always anxiety producing.
She says some of the anxiety will go away with time, and maybe it's finally started to. Justin Wolfers, an economist at the University of Michigan, says the 34% of people who feel optimistic gets at that.
More people are finding work. More people are starting businesses.
Plus, he says it's one thing for people to feel a certain way about the economy, but what matters is how they participate in it.
The reality is, if you wanted to measure how optimistic people are, possibly the best one is to look at their spending patterns.
He says if people thought there were dark, stormy clouds around the corner, they'd stop spending. I'm Kristen Schwab for Marketplace.
Remember, that recession that was 6 months away has been coming for a year and a half now. Two quick things as we head off into the rest of the program. Jay Powell and the gang at the Fed meet tomorrow and Wednesday. The economic outlook and interest rates will be on the agenda. No change in rates this time is where the smart money is. Do not trade on that, by the way. Consult your own financial advisor. Also, there's word today there's a tentative deal between GM and the United Auto Workers. If and when all three tentative deals are ratified, Ford and Stellantis already announced, as you've surely heard, that would bring an end to the 6 or so week UAW strike. Wall Street on this Monday, all sunshine and light. We'll have the details when we do the numbers. Among the data points sure to be considered and discussed at that Fed meeting tomorrow and Wednesday is the latest employment cost index, which we will get tomorrow. The ECI, as it's known, is put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics every quarter and gives a measure of the cost, just like it sounds, of labor. Last we heard, which is to say last quarter, labor was costing companies less. So just because it is good to be aware of these things, a couple of minutes now about the ECI.
I think you should call me John. My last name is pronounced Rooser. Think of it as the farm animal without a T.
Noted, John. John Rooser is the president of the consulting firm Insights into Comp LLC.
And before that, I had 31 years in the federal statistical system. 27 of them were with the BLS.
So he knows a thing or two about the ECI.
One is that it captures the cost not only for wages, but also covers the costs of benefits provided to workers.
Health insurance, paid time off, retirement plans.
The other feature of the ECI is that it's designed in a way that it's not affected by movements of labor across occupations and industries.
The BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the Labor Department, surveys a bunch of companies.
They draw out a sample that is designed to represent the full economy. And so that means a certain number of companies in a certain industry, for example.
And then they pay those companies a visit.
And then they collect a whole battery of data about wages, other monetary expenditures on labor, but also a lot of other data on the provisions of benefits. And then after several years in the sample, the company is rotated out and other companies are brought in.
All right, so now that we know that, how the thing works, what are economists actually going to be looking for in the data?
My name is Nicole Smith, and I'm the chief economist at the Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce.
And?
What we'll be looking for is, are employers still continuing to bump up compensation for workers? And that tells you that, they're still trying to attract new workers.
And the Fed, Jay Powell and company?
They don't want to see an ECI that's increasing too quickly, but one that is moving at least in tandem with inflation, or at least maintaining the purchasing power of individuals.
My guess, by the way, he'll get at least one question, Mr. Powell will, on the ECI at his press conference on Wednesday. This is a big labor market data this week, by the by. We get job openings and labor turnover survey for September on Wednesday, the JOLTS, as you know, then Friday, the biggie, the October jobs report. Let's do the numbers. Dow Industrial's up 511 points today, 1 6/10%, 32,928. The Nasdaq lifted 146 points, 1.2%, 12,789. S&P 500 up 49 points, 1 2/10%, 41 66. If you have not yet bought your candy for the trick-or-treaters tomorrow, you might be in for some sticker shock. Candy and gum prices are an average of 13% higher than this time last year. So let us check in on some Halloween candy makers, shall we? Hershey, maker of the eponymous chocolate bar, and Mr. Good Bar of the looking for variety. Sweetened 1%. Mondelez International, which owns the Cadbury chocolate brand, increased 1.5%. Tootsie Roll Industries, which also makes Junior Mints and Dots gumdrops, swelled 2 1/10% today. Bond prices fell. Yield on the 10-year T-note went the other way, 4.88%. You're listening to Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Drexel University, whose cooperative education program empowers students to explore future careers and discover the profession that is best for them before graduation. Experience what education can be at drexel.edu. And by Amazon Business. From small business to big enterprise and everything in between, Amazon Business helps simplify the supplies buying process. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. and by Pie Insurance. Pie's insurance is designed to be as easy as pie from quote to claim, with coverage built specifically for small businesses in 38 states and Washington, D.C. Learn more from your agent or at iwantpie.com.
Nancy Solomon is here with me. This is Marketplace. I'm Tiffany Hansen. Nancy, we might be wanting some pie pretty soon because guess what? We have had a challenge in place this afternoon. We have 20 minutes in this penultimate day of our fall membership drive to get 8 more sustaining members to join us in support of WNYC. 8 people in the next 20 minutes. We'll go back to Marketplace here in just a few minutes. We're just taking a few minutes out. We need 8 people to join us with a sustaining membership at 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org. Join Edward in Astoria, who became a sustaining member and said, woohoo, I hope this helps. Yes, it does. It does help. It helps keep this station going strong. It helps us reach that goal because what happens when we reach that goal, Nancy?
We unlock a $20,000 challenge grant by an anonymous New York Public Radio trustee. And so it supercharges your donation. Whatever small donation you make, we're able to get that $20,000. And so every single call we get helps. And I can't believe we went from like 18
I'm
to
so
8
excited.
in minutes. And so we're watching the numbers go down and get smaller and smaller, which is quite exciting for us. And we'd like you to call in and help us make that goal. We're down to 7. So call 888-376-9692. Go to WNYC.org, make your tax-deductible pledge, and support your local public radio station.
I'm LaFontaine Oliver, President and CEO of New York Public Radio. I believe that journalism is the oxygen of our democracy and that no medium has a greater power to inform, inspire, and unite our community than public radio. Listener support powers everything we do. So if you can, please give now and join WNYC in our essential work to serve the people of our region. Here's how.
By calling 888-376-9692 or going online to WNYC.org. This is an exciting moment for us. Yes, there is 20 minutes or so left in the hour, but we only have 7 people left that to reach this goal. We can unlock $20,000 in this last little bit of Marketplace. You're tuned into Marketplace. You're tuned into WNYC because you know it's of value to you and your community, and we're just asking you to step up and support it with a sustaining membership. What that does is unlocks $20,000 for us. If we don't meet this goal, that $20,000 evaporates. Help us collect that $20,000 and put it right back into the programming. 5 to go. 888-376-9692 or online at WNYC.org.
And, you know, WNYC is, and public radio more generally, is vital to a civil democracy. It's independent, nonprofit public media. And so that's what you're supporting. You're supporting putting reporters on the ground. You're paying for the transmitter that beams the signal. You're paying for the digital bandwidth that brings it to you on your phone or that puts together and produces the podcast. The things that you like about public radio, we do it with your dollars. You are the largest source of our funding. Listeners, you're the ones who stick by us thick and thin.
That's right.
When advertising dollars are down, when foundation support is down, we rely on you. And this is a fantastic time right now we're going to unlock that $20,000 challenge. I know we're going to do it. I feel great about it. We appreciate so much the calls that we're getting. 888-376-9692.
Nancy, we have 4 to go. We need, I just can't contain it. 4 people right now listening to our voices who can say, 2 people, come on, help us out. Help us keep this station going strong. It's not just because Nancy and I are asking you. It's because you know that WNYC.
We made the goal.
We made the goal.
Thank you, everybody.
Love it.
Thank you, everybody, so much.
Thank you so much.
We were sweating it there for a bit, weren't we?
We were sweating it, but you know what? All that says is that your neighbors know what WNYC means to them. Our work here is not done. This is not the last day of the membership drive. We have more to go. There's more work to be done. And now's the time for you to call and you to contribute with your sustaining membership at 888-376-9692, 888-376-WNYC. Maybe you're here for Marketplace. Maybe you're here for All Things Considered. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, I've been wanting to do this. Now's the time. WNYC.org. It's fast, it's easy, and you're on your way. Thanks so much.
Woo, thank you.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Ryssdal. Listening to corporate earnings conference calls, usually the CEO, the chief financial officer as well, opening up the books for the quarter in question. Those calls are never really entertaining, but they can often give you a hint of where a given business is looking for its next opportunities. Case in point, United Parcel Service, UPS, leadership of which noted in the company's earnings call last week that its returns business has grown 25% since 2020. It also announced that it's going to buy a reverse logistics company. Yes, a reverse logistics company called Happy Returns, terms not disclosed. Marketplace's Stephanie Hughes has that one.
The way Happy Returns works is you bring whatever item it is you want to return to one of their drop-off locations, say a bathing suit, because show me the person who shops online who hasn't returned a bathing suit. You show them a QR code and they'll take it.
Thing is, you don't have to worry about boxing it back up, putting a label on it. You kind of give them your bathing suit and go, here.
Kathy Robertson is the research manager for the Reverse Logistics Association. She used to work for UPS more than a decade ago. She points out the company already works in reverse logistics and that by buying Happy Returns, UPS is getting its more than 10,000 drop-off locations where they'll be able to pick up a bunch of packages.
Instead of having to go door to door to door to pick them up.
Which, she points out, is way more expensive. Also, Happy Returns drop-off locations are in existing retail stores, such as Staples, Best Buy, GameStop. And Bloomberg Intelligence analyst Lee Klaskow points out a UPS driver might be going there anyway.
So chances are the UPS driver might have been going to that store to drop off a package. And so if they're able to pick up stuff also, that's a benefit.
Klaskow says this acquisition also gives UPS a bigger chunk of the growing returns market. You might be thinking, isn't taking someone's returned bathing suit, no box, no label, kind of complicated? Maybe, but Klaskow says UPS can handle it. And he says retailers might even be willing to pay the company extra for boxing up the goods if it means they get the items back sooner.
They're getting the value of getting it back into their inventory, being able to resell it quicker, or do whatever they want to do.
UPS, in its earnings call last week, noted that an estimated 20 to 30% of all online orders are now returned. I'm Stephanie Hughes for Marketplace.
So here's an infrastructure story wrapped in a climate change story inside the most economically critical city in this country. The New York City subway is 100 years old. More than 3 million people ride it every day, many of them to work. It is also more and more frequently flooding, and not just a little bit because of extreme rainfall, which is becoming more common as the planet gets hotter. Last month, the remnants of Tropical Storm Ophelia dumped inches per hour of rain, several inches per hour in some parts of the city, which, if you happened to have seen some of the video, you know did not go well in the New York City subway. Marketplace's Samantha Fields has that one.
At one point during that storm in late September, every single subway line in the city was either fully or partially suspended or running with delays. Videos of water pouring down subway steps and through vents onto platforms and into tunnels flooded social media. People were stranded underground and above ground. It was a mess. It was also deja vu all over again.
We design our sewers to absorb a rainfall of 1.75 inches per hour.
Rohit Agarwal is New York City's chief climate officer and commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection, which is in charge of the sewers.
And until 2021, that was a pretty conservative number.
It's not anymore. Since 2021, several storms have dumped more rain than that in an hour and overwhelmed the sewer system. When that happens, the water flows down into any other openings it can find, including the subway, which, of course, is mostly underground.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Some of what needs to be done to prevent rain from flooding the subway are huge infrastructure projects that will take years and cost billions. But there are smaller things that can make a difference in the meantime.
All right, so we're at Chambers Street Station at West Broadway on the 1, 2, and 3 trains.
Eric Wilson works on climate resilience and sustainability planning at the MTA, which runs the subway. He's brought me to this particular station in downtown Manhattan because it flooded in a rainstorm back in 2007, but not in this last storm we had, and he wants to show me why.
So let's go up to the surface and I'll show you some stormwater protection.
First up, elevated vents on the sidewalk. Unlike most of the metal grates you see all over the city that allow airflow into the subway, these vents are not flush with the sidewalk. They're raised a few inches.
What they're designed to do is to prevent stormwater that overtops this curb from penetrating down into the vents.
Looking at them, it doesn't seem like just a few inches would make much of a difference. But Wilson says it does. So does raising station entrances. Let's go look.
Yeah, let's go take a look. So we'll see a relatively small step.
At this entrance to the Chambers Street station, instead of just walking off the sidewalk straight down the stairs, you step up from the sidewalk first.
This one is just a couple of inches. It's to prevent stormwater from, just flowing directly down into the stairs.
Halfway down the block, Wilson points out one more thing. In the street, the curb is much deeper by the storm drain or catch basin, and the road itself is angled to funnel rainwater toward the drain.
All these kinds of very nuanced things that you might not notice are actually really critical to keep stormwater from entering the subway station.
So is keeping catch basins clear of trash and leaves, he says, something the city's been pushing in a big way.
That is likely to be good enough for the places that we affected by flood accumulations of, say, 4 inches or 5 inches.
But Marcel Negrete at the nonprofit Regional Plan Association says for other stations, like ones that are downslope,
where you would see deeper levels of flooding, you probably need something else.
Since the 2007 storm that flooded the Chambers Street station, the MTA has spent $64 million to mitigate flash flooding in the subway. The current capital plan includes $75 million more for stormwater mitigation and additional funding for related projects like wells and pumping infrastructure. But it's not just up to the MTA. The city also needs a lot more permeable surfaces above ground. More gardens, parks, buildings, and roads that can absorb water before it gets to the sewer or the subway. Rohit Agarwal, the city's chief climate officer, says that work is happening, but it's going to take time. There's no way around it.
I think New Yorkers have this tendency to assume that when it rains, no matter how hard it rains, everything should work normally. There shouldn't be any flooding in the street. All the trains should run.
But he says that's not the world we live in anymore. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
This final note on the way out today comes to us courtesy of the German Federal Statistical Office, which announced today the GDP there shrank 0.1% July through September. Remember last week we were talking about how the United States is far and away the healthiest major economy in the world, 4.9% growth in gross domestic product, thanks mostly to, again, where we started, you, the humble American consumer. The German slowdown driven by a fall in consumer spending.
Marketplace is supported by McDermott, Will, and Emery, lawyers passionately working to help clients tackle their biggest challenges today in pursuit of their boldest vision of tomorrow. More at MWE.com. And by Raymond James, tailored wealth management, banking, and capital markets solutions for clients' unique needs. Disclosures at RaymondJames.com.
All right, we're going. Here's your moment of economic context. Data from Zillow spotted in the Wall Street Journal. Things that were important when buying a home during the waning days of the pandemic, but are not now. Listings mentioning home offices down 41% the first half of this year versus 2022. Peloton rooms, which I guess are a thing, down 24% year on year. Our daily production team includes Andy Corbin, Richard Cunningham, Maria Hollenhorst, Sarah Leeson, Sean McHenry, and Sophia Terenzio. Don't at me if you're a Peloton user and you've got a room for it. I'm Kai Risdell. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.